So today I wanted to talk about whether it be the Philippines or Thailand or any other country.
To the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like
What are the reasons that people move to these countries and then feel like things haven't worked out? So the first thing that I wanted to, the first one would be money. Okay, so when you move, let's say you move to the Philippines, and for most people, if they've actually decided to make the move, they're moving because they want to live a better life. Maybe they're wherever they're from, whichever country it is, maybe things are not that great in their own country. Political problems, their money's not going far enough. They want a better quality of life, and that could relate to money. It could be, deal with health, retirement. They just want to have a better life. So anyway, the first thing I wanted to mention would be planning. So you want to make sure you've got enough money. Make sure you have poor planning with no budget. So you don't want to just come over and quit your job and think that I'm going to move to the Philippines and get a job, for instance, because it won't happen. There's the jobs just are not that plentiful. Now, probably the best scenario would be to, if you do need to still work, if don't have retirement coming in or something, then the best way my thought is, earn online. If you have, if you're a digital nomad, or you can teach English online, something like that, where you're earning in the U.S. possibly, and that way you already have an income before you even move to the Philippines, or Thailand or Colombia, wherever you're going to. So, and also, so when you're planning this budget, let's say that you're going to have $1,000 coming in from Social Security, for instance, as an example. And then, whether it be $1,000 or $2,000 or $10,000, figure out a budget as to how much you can spend per month, and then run the numbers and see if you can do that. There's a lot of different people with different budget videos on here, and it really depends on your lifestyle, so, but you want to make sure that you have a budget and then stick to it. You don't want to come over and be on a $1,000 budget and then be going to the bars all the time and spending a ton of money on food and drinks and living it up, as best you can, and then have to leave and go back home to the position that you were in previously in your own country. So that would be my advice. Make sure you have your budget figured out. And when you're doing that budget, some people will say, hey, if you live in the Philippines, it's about 30% of what it is, for instance, in the U.S. And really, that depends on what part of the U.S. you're in. If you're living in, say, California, Southern California, or San Francisco, something like that, your cost of living is going to be much greater than, let's say, I believe, than most of Texas or the Midwest, so a lot of these other states. So you really need to take that into consideration and look at the real numbers, before you decide to make the move. And also make sure that you come over to the country that you're thinking about moving to. Make sure you stay there for at least a couple of months to see if you even really like it. Because there's a difference between going somewhere on vacation and going somewhere, long term. You want to see what it's like to actually live there. Whatever it is that you like to do. If you like to golf, go golfing. If you like to bowl, go bowling. Whatever your hobbies are, try them out at the place that you're planning on moving to, and see how you like it. And and try to also, so you're gonna be going into a different culture. You want to make sure that you can kind of assimilate to that culture. If you're really, really stuck in your ways, and if you're one of those people that say, well, in America we do it this way, well, then you probably shouldn't be moving to another country, because just because things are done in one country, it doesn't make it right, so keep an open mind and be flexible, and keep your cool, so to speak, when things don't go the way you plan or the way you hope for them to go. The other thing I wanted to mention too is make sure you have an emergency fund. You never know when things could go wrong, and there is no safety net in most countries. There's no safety net in Thailand, and there's no safety net in the Philippines, and most countries in general don't have a safety net, so make sure you have an emergency fund, enough to where if you really get sick, that you're able to get medical care. And I can't stress that enough. There's a lot of people that actually pass away because they didn't have enough money to have a treatment of some sort. So it's extremely important. Have an emergency fund before you ever decide to make the move. And when I say emergency fund, I'm not talking $1,000. You need to make sure you've got plenty in case something really bad happens. So either it's good to have, you can self-insure which is basically you having enough money in the bank to cover, any medical expenses, or you can get insurance fairly cheap in most, at least in Thailand and the Philippines. However, I have heard that, sometimes they don't cover pre-existing conditions, and if you're older than 80, it can be really difficult to get insurance, I've heard. So you'll want to talk to somebody in the insurance field and check that stuff out ahead of time, before you decide to make a move. Make sure you're covered in that respect. So that's the next item on the list. And again, if you don't have a job, if you're waiting for your Social Security to come in and you're 58 years old or something like that, and you're gonna take your Social Security at 62, I probably wouldn't do it, because your money will tend to, run out really quick. make sure you have a steady income of some sort coming in before you make that move. Okay. The next thing, would be love. Love and romance. If you're looking for a partner or a girlfriend or a wife, whatever it may be, or a husband, don't count on that. And if that is what your main goal is, then you want to go somewhere where there are not a lot of foreigners. So if you're going to the Philippines, you don't want to go to Dumaguete if you're looking for a life partner or something like that. Because in Dumaguete, there's a lot of foreigners. I can't say how many people that I've talked to, they said, well, have you been to Dumaguete? No, I haven't been to Dumaguete. But I know Dumaguete looks nice and stuff, but there's a lot of foreigners there. And, so if you go somewhere where there aren't many foreigners, you'll get attention. It doesn't matter if you're 20 years old or 70 years old. You're different. You'll get attention that you are not used to. So that can be it's a great feeling. I can say that. So you don't want to go to a place, if that's what you're looking for, you don't want to go to a place where there's a lot of foreigners. I recently went to Boracay, and I gotta say, I did not receive even the slightest look while I was there. There's so many foreigners from so many different countries, so many wealthy people. So if that's what you're looking for, that's not the place to hang out. So hopefully all this makes sense. Anyway, you want to stand out. And that's going to attract people to you, although it can also attract people in a bad way, so you need to also be careful, when you are in some of those other areas. And also, when you're looking for that special person, don't try to find them in the bar. This would be my advice, and I'm definitely not any kind of love expert. So stay away from the bars. Don't drink too much. That would be some advice I could give you. And try to meet a woman or whatever you're looking for. Just somebody that has a normal job I would say is the best way to go. And then you will probably be treated really, really well. Stay away from the bars and don't drink too much. And I think that it'll make your visit much more enjoyable. When you move to one of these other places, it's best to check on the visa situation with an actual professional in that field. There's too many people on YouTube and, people that are Facebook, whatever the source may be, that pretend that they're experts and they will make statements, even though those are incorrect. So you want to make sure that you speak with a qualified professional in that field regarding visas, so ahead of time what you're up against, or whether you should start to process that in your own country before you even attempt to move. Yeah, so that would be my advice there. Don't just take your friends, advice and think that they know what they're talking about, because a lot of times the people don't. So, the other next thing that I kind of wanted to cover would be wherever you decide to go, the cultures is going to be different. So it's good to meet people, from that country. Don't just hang out with the expats, that kind of thing. Meet the local people. Try to integrate with them. I can't stress that enough. You want to have a local person that you can depend on, in case some situation comes up. But it'll just make your transition much easier. You need to mix in, or try to mix in with the local people wherever you are, and embrace their culture. Because if you try to move somewhere and take your Western culture with you, and have the idea that whatever is done, let's say in the U.S., that's the correct way, you will fail, and you will end up moving back to wherever you came from. So embrace the culture wherever you're at, wherever you're going to, and then hopefully you'll be able to live a much better and happier life. And your standard of living will probably be much better. So if you can do these things, these are just my suggestions, but I think it will really help. Anyway, hey, thanks so much for watching, and have a good day or evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thanks again. Bye.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.